Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Meet a Creator or a very, very creative person. And this is a real treat for me today because this is John Sommer. He's a friend of mine for I don't want to say the years, John. It's been a lot. We've worked together in the past in small companies, big companies, and he's got some really cool stuff happening. So let's start a little bit about how we know each other. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us how we know each other?
Yeah, well, my name's John Sommer. I started in the industry in 1991, but Mr. Peterson here was the person that gave me my first shot as an art director. So I had been through the school of hard knocks of game development and learned some good stuff and had moved back to Arizona. And Eric's like, "Hey, I'm doing this studio. Maybe you'd be interested in working here." I'm like, "Well, yeah. How about an art director role?" He's like, "Sure, why not?" And so that was the turning point in my career, quite honestly.
Oh,
What's that?
that's nice. I didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't know it was a
Well,
turning point in your career. Wow.
yeah, dude. Like
Uh,
it's a big reason. Oh, I mean, even the whole going back to Digital Anvil, right? Like if you want to know
mm,
the real reason how we know each other, it goes back to Digital Anvil. Had
yeah.
Eric not been the catalyst for getting that studio started,
True.
Jake Rogers, which, mutual friend of ours,
Love
wouldn't
Jake.
have reached out to me while I was working at Rainbow Studios and brought me to Texas in the first time. Like you and I wouldn't have met, and that's where we met Sergio. I know you just had him on, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like that little group all was because of you, dude. Like you're the one that kind of
No,
started
no,
it
no.
all, and
It's not because of me, but I'm just part of the look. I think that there are good people in the industry, and I will not bring on anybody that's not good. So folks should know that anybody coming on that's a friend of mine is an actual friend of mine. And John's worked with me when we were super small. I mean, I think we had like nine guys on Shadows of Mordor at Fever Pitch, and then we got bought by Gizmondo. Oh, what a
oh
ride that
boy,
was!
a ride is
Crazy.
one word. A ride is a word
Yeah,
for it. Yeah, roller
yeah.
coaster.
That studio was fun though. That was a
That's
cool
it,
place to
dude.
work.
Yeah, the E3 still sticks in my mind. That was a whole other level. That was like
E-
Hollywood on steroids in term. That was the heyday of E3, and since then, it's just never hit that level.
No, we had a bunch of projects to try to sell, and that actually was a seminal moment in my career because we had some super hot stuff. Johnny Whatever was hot, Conquest. We had some neat stuff, and then Supernaturals and stuff from the UK versions. We had a plethora of stuff to sell, and we had guys like Bell Anchor, Kodak, all these people come in and look at our stuff and go, "This is really amazing." But what I found out was publishers generally don't buy other people's IPs. They're looking for licensed stuff or stuff they own
Yeah,
because I guess for them it's a risk and they're afraid of it. And I thought for sure we were going to, and we ultimately did get bought because of that
yeah.
thing. And that gave
But
us another couple years, which was fun. But ultimately, that guy wrecking his Ferrari on the Pacific Coast Highway, and yeah, it was a ride. And then we spent.
yeah,
Do you remember? Do you remember at Fever Pitch when we were in that little place? Just you, me, there's like nine of us, Tom and some other guys, and the Universal had pulled our contract without telling us. We were doing an RTS for them, and they had pulled it and just didn't. We found out about it from our friends at Warthog because they were doing another deal with him, and they said, "Hey, your contract's been pulled." We're like, "What?" So we called them, and that guy, I don't want to say his name, but I'm probably going to get it out there. So we found out that yes, we've been canceled, and they given it to Battle Realms.
yeah, yeah.
So we had like I don't know a couple $100,000 in the bank, and we all got together as a team, which is what I love doing. To me, that's why we're still in the industry. It's always about the people. And we decided to roll the dice and make an RPG demo for them. And you know how flippin' stupid was that?
Yeah.
You know, that's risk. And
Yeah,
what
man.
happened? Tell them what happened. Tell them what. See, you're gonna,
You know, I lost a lot of sleep and I just don't remember. I think I made a block that whole era out at some point. Honestly, like that kind of leads into the next thing, right? Like the industry in general. And That being the starting point of where you and I met and turning point for
Right,
your career, my career,
right.
seeing the volatility in the industry is something that I've struggled with my entire career. And
It's
as
tough.
an art director, you're hiring these kids out of school that have taken on a considerable amount of debt to get a shot to make games that they love playing. And then the reality is, like you said, they end up getting overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, no lack of or complete lack of ownership, and it's just burnout. And now the
Mm.
industry feels like it's collapsing in amongst itself. It's like
It
this is
is. It's a
this is
complete reset.
tough. This is
And the money
tough.
people are not losing their jobs. It's the people
Yeah.
working. Just to finish that story, we did get the RPG gig. We
Oh,
went bowling and got the
right.
thing. But
We
I didn't want to
swung.
leave the fans out
We
there hanging.
swung for the fences. I mean, kind of
Well, we
back to the
did, we
Peter
did.
pitch, right?
But you're right. And I can recall people like, remember Grayson Chalmers? Remember Grayson?
No, of course I
Yeah,
do,
of
man.
course
That
you
guy
remember.
has a good example, right? Like some kid, diamond in the rough, but man, full of potential and aptitude and drive, and yeah, he's done amazing things. I mean, I think he's at one point he was doing all the outsourced management for Ubisoft, like
Yeah.
massive, like yeah, amazing stuff.
Yeah, he's one of those kids that came through. And I remember we had him in there and he was, he'd gotten an offer, I think in Midway or something, and which I think you went to as well.
Yeah, I went to Midway.
And he eventually, this is when we finally closed. But before we closed, he goes, Eric, I got this big offer Midway. And he goes, what should I do? And I was like, you should take it.
Yeah, I told him the same thing. When I was at that age, in my art director career, I gave him everything I could give him as an art director that I
Right.
knew, an early young art director, right? Like it was my first gig. I'm like, dude, I can't help you anymore. You need to go somewhere else to spread your wings and fly. And man, did he. Like, good for him.
Yeah. It's just that I think what we just talked about here is what I like about you so much is you're just a really good guy and a great manager and
Well,
actually
thanks,
probably the
man.
best art director I've ever had. Don't tell
Aw.
Moreland that, but it was
Yeah, I
fantastic working
mean,
with you.
I tell him that I'm the best art director you ever have, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's true.
I'm just teasing. Good old Moreland, man. Oh, I
You
miss
know where he
those
is?
days.
He's in
Yeah.
Vermont. He's freaking retired. Well, he's working kind of IT up there. But I tried to get him on the show. People are watching because I wanted to do a Green Acres segment with him. Do. He's got a farm with goats and
Good
sheep,
for him,
man.
man. That's that my wife and I talk about homesteading and doing that stuff all the time. But I think it goes back to the whole like we've been so hammered with
Oh,
everything, right? Like AI, for example, whether we want it or not, it's here and it's
yeah.
getting shoved down our throats.
It's not
And
going
the
away.
idea of going to a farm and playing with goats and feeding ducks, like, wow, that
Yeah.
sounds amazing. Yes, please. I'll take more of that.
Yeah, I do agree with you. It's a different. I think we always peer over the. Everybody thinks making games is fun, and when you have the right crew, it actually is
Yeah,
pretty fun. It's
100%.
but it's not the crew. It's
It
always the
is.
crew that makes it fun, and I think chemistry is super important. Now you've been involved in a lot of stuff since, so we've kind of caught him up to where we digital ammo, fear pitch,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
where have you been since? What have you been up to?
Oh, dude, I my career has taken so many different turns. One of my one of my greatest passions, I guess, in some ways, like when I was in high school, I was in the Marine Corps Junior ROTC, and you know this about me, a pilot, right? I've always wanted to be a pilot, Top Gun. When that came out, it changed my life. I'm like, I'm gonna be a military fighter pilot, and I tried, but my eyes weren't great, so that didn't work out. But I've always had a big part of me was part of aviation and just defense, and not that somebody who's hungry about war, but the appeal of that industry is something that's just been part of me because I was into it at a young age. So I had done a bunch of different stuff at game companies. Like I was part of the team that helped get EA Minions, so the franchise art director role at Minions. I'll go into that a little bit more. I did some defense contract stuff where we built a IED memory trainer for the Marine Corps to help them go into Afghanistan and imagine or visualize a world and look for differences so that we can protect our troops. Like that was something that really just gave me a lot of worth, right? I felt like I wasn't just
Pride.
making games to rot kids' brains or occupy them while their parents are doing something, but potentially saving lives with this stuff. And
That's
that
cool.
led me down the road, still doing some game stuff here and there, but it led me to Mutual Mobile, where I had worked on getting into in virtual reality and mixed reality type stuff, where we were solving some pretty complicated enterprise problems with this new spatial computing platform.
Mm.
And the same little things that kind of tickled me all along my career in game development manifested in this new spatial realm of you can really solve some interesting problems in different ways because it's now physically around you. It's tangible. You can touch it. And once I learned that, I was all in. Yeah, I started a company with a guy named John Nagel, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago.
I know.
But he and I started a company called Gyoza Games where we built our first VR game in 7.5 weeks, just the two of us. And that did well enough that got us to Paul Allen's company. Vulcan hired us to do, they have this thing called a Holodome, and they put it in the Moab and a few other places. They were doing some stuff with Dave and Buster's at one point, but we were the first immersive experience there. And then we decided, on a whim, he was a pilot, I was a pilot, like, hey, maybe we can build a safety thing for pilots where you get into bad weather and you put this thing on your face and now suddenly you can see a clear blue sky and find the airport and land with peace of mind. I think to date we may be the only two people on Earth that have physically flown a real airplane while immersed completely in VR. Like,
Wow.
that's cool, right? Like,
That is
yeah,
very
so
cool.
a lot of different things. But now, yeah, with all the stuff, we've done some pharmaceutical stuff, we've done some training, we've done some electrician training work, we've done some video game stuff. I worked most recently at Meta. I was working on a Deadpool VR
Oh,
launch there and helped them get that out the door. And man, that was an amazing experience. And the crew there, like, yeah, we could talk for about Meta in general for a month. Like, I've got
right.
so much stuff that I could I could go on there. So yeah, where do you want to go, man? I've kind of done a little
Well,
bit of
wait,
everything
wherever you're
and
going to take us
all
is
of it.
fine with me, dude. I'm just enjoying finding out what you're up to now.
Yeah,
Just
man.
so the fans out there know that we're going to catch up. It's just about meeting me and John, but eventually we'll have something for them to see that you. I've
Yeah.
seen a little bit of snippet of what you got coming, and can't really talk about that right now. It's kind of under wraps, but eventually you'll be on at a later episode. And we'll talk about that. So, tell me about Minions, man. What all did
Oh,
you what all did you work with on Minions?
yeah, Minions. Oh man, that again, pinnacle of my career. Like, was definitely one of the highlights. And the opportunity to work with that creative crew over there was just amazing. At the time, I was working here in Austin at Pogo, which is they had a satellite studio up
That was EA,
at
right?
at the
EA.
domain. Yeah, yeah, at
Yeah.
EA. And my former boss there, Chip Lang, said, "Hey, we got this opportunity to go
I know
after
Chip.
Minions against Glue." So great. I think I was one of maybe a 5 or 7 person team to pitch against Glue, and the deal was like closing within the next week. Like, you know this, like, you know what
Right.
it's like to go and pitch to a publisher at the very 11th hour. So I think we crunched for a good week and a half just trying to get this pitch together, and Chip and a few others went in there and sold it and just made it. And when you read that pitch, there was just no way EA or anybody was going to say no. Like, it looked like it was going to print money. So we won the contract. And then I was the art director on the Minions Island or Minions, or wait, what is it? Island, Minions Island Paradise. Paradise. Oh my gosh. Minions Paradise. That's it. It's like, I told you, I blocked stuff out, man. Like,
You
it's
know,
another chapter of my
it
life.
flies out at a certain age. Stuff starts leaking. I understand. I'm in that
Yeah.
boat. Trust me.
Minions Paradise. So Chip pulled me out of the Austin studio and embedded me, well, remotely embedded me into the studio in Salt Lake City. And it was my first opportunity to really start learning what it felt like to work remote. And it quickly became apparent that the way that you work remotely with a team is you got to build that trust and respect and make sure that the integrity is there. So it was hard, man. Every week for probably 2 years, I would hop on a plane, fly out there Monday, work for 2 days, fly back home, and communicate like I've never communicated before. I mean, I was more visible and helping make sure that I was over communicating at every instance to make
Yeah.
sure that there wasn't ever a gap. And it really helped me in my career. So when you think about foundational moments, you giving me the first shot, this really sharpening my communication skills, and then going and working directly with the people, the unbelievably talented people at Illumination Entertainment. I was
Mhm.
sitting right next door to Eric Guyon's protege. Eric Guyon's the art director for
Right.
Illumination
Right.
Entertainment. All the Despicable Me stuff, the
Right.
designs, the minions themselves come from this guy. And I was working with the guy who's understudy, like right next to me. So I was
Nice.
absorbing, man, it was some of the most enjoyable times that I've ever had in as an art director, as an artist, as a creator, as somebody who just appreciates humor. Uh,
Right.
and Rodney Brunet, you know Rodney.
Oh man, I haven't seen Rodney in years.
Oh man,
I should bring him on. He is
you should, you
love
should.
Rodney.
Yes, yes, please do. I actually talked to him quite a bit.
Tell
But
him
I
I said
brought,
hi.
I will, I
Yeah.
will. I brought him on at EA as one of our story artists, And out of the entire crew that we had there that were trying to come up with these gags for the minions that Illumination would approve, I would say about 80 to 90% of the stuff that Rodney put forward was a win every time right off the bat.
Which is so funny because he's very dry.
But he's
Let's
so
just say
quirky, right?
he
He's
is
so
very quirky.
creative, and that's exactly the kind of humor that they were looking for.
He did
And
the Fever Pitch logo. He did my
he did,
logo.
he
Yeah,
did. I remember that.
yeah.
So yeah, man. The Minions team, I was managing a team of probably around 30 or so internal artists, and then who knows how many outsourced teams we had. I was able to mentor an amazing art director. He was my associate art director at the time, Casey Dockendorf, who since went on to Niantic and has been doing stuff
Nice.
for Pokemon and so on and so forth in
Right.
mixed reality. And since then, he's co-founded his own company. So
Yeah,
it's
I
just
saw some of that stuff that Niantic was doing with the mixed reality of walking around with the
yeah,
monsters and stuff. The
absolutely.
colorful see through monsters. That was awesome. We
Yeah.
had a
So
pitch.
yeah, it's just
We had a
been
pitch at Niantic to reskin Pokemon Go, but kind of in the Johnny universe where you're playing instead of the Pokemonsters, you're trying to gather fans and they're listening to you play and stuff, and then the
that's cool.
gyms are actual like what do you call them music venues, and you'd have the house band and you'd also have the headliner, and you could own the. So we were going to redo kind of the game, and but we're going to let you travel around and do world tours, and so we had a deal with Niantic, and then they sold to what Scopely or whatever, and the Pokemon went that way, and it just sort of fell apart. Too bad,
Yeah.
because I thought we call
As
it Jukebox Heroes. It was going to be fun.
oh man, as does everything else, right? This
Well,
this
how many times have you had
absorbing,
something
absorbing,
close?
absorbing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it happens. You got to be resilient.
You do. And that's definitely like for anybody who's listening that wants to get into the game industry,
Don't.
young or old. No, no, I wouldn't say
I
that.
know.
Like I
I
think
know.
there's
Just kidding.
there's never been a better opportunity to as an independent developer
Right
try
now.
something, right? Especially with the tools and the accessibility of stuff right now. I think this is you can fill in the gaps that you have as somebody who wants to bring a vision to life like never before. But to your point, resilience is key, right? Like don't do it in spite of things. It's like playing for the NBA. Like 1 in 100,000 are going to get that opportunity that's going to be hugely
Well,
successful, right?
that's true. But I think we're transitioning. I don't think big publishers are going to matter as much as they have in the past.
No, I
And
don't think
so,
so either.
but it is kind of it is tough to find your audience before you launch because there's excuse me so many games coming out, especially on Steam, like every day. So it's hard to find your way through the muck and the mire to something you like, and things blow up out of the blue for whatever reason. It's just like it's popularity, right? So
Yeah.
who knows what the public likes? All of a sudden, one day somebody starts laughing at something on a as an influencer, and it goes.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I mean. Like if these kids that go and play sports all their, young high school career and hope that they're going to get into professional sports, like it's a
Yeah, it's
very
not
small chance that you're going to get it. It's kind of the same thing with game development. There's hundreds of thousands of independent developers all swinging
right,
for the fences, myself included.
right.
You've been there, and
Hmm.
the chance of actually hitting it where you're going to be the Fortnite of success, or it's such
Wow.
a small percentage
Well,
that
Star
we can't get
Citizen,
lost on.
I can put
Uh,
Star Citizen in
yeah,
my quiver there. So you're right, you're right, and that's true. It is like but that's Chris's thing, and so I can take credit for helping and get funded and get going, but he's
as
certainly
you
taking the
should.
rest.
I mean, you were
Yeah,
instrumental for a lot of
no,
that,
I
right?
thank you. I
Like,
appreciate that.
absolutely.
I appreciate that. It's I've been lucky enough to be involved with some really good people my entire career, and as
Yeah.
it sounds like you have too. So.
No, dude, I
Um,
mean,
we got
yourself included.
about 2 minutes here. So can you
Oh,
tell me a little bit about the new company you're doing now? Just
yeah. So we, in 2020, my business partner, Trey Zeman, which, at some point you should have him on here too, like a
sure.
brilliant, brilliant animator, technical artist, and now my technical director at Octobionic. We co-founded Octobionic in 2020 based on the back of doing enterprise work, but both Trey and I are absolute insane nutso over retro style gaming. I've got a quarter scale lunar lander arcade game right there. I've got Galaga and
I see them.
uh, Space Invaders right there, and Trey's got a full size arcade in his office. Like it's just something that we both kind of instantly bonded over, and then with our passion for XR, we've kind of been marrying those two things together. Uh, so yeah, we kind of used enterprise as a way to keep our lights on, and then
Mhm.
that's been working really well for us. And then as we build up enough capital, we have the time and the capacity to work on our own IP. We've been doing that
Right.
in the background, and ultimately, what we're building right now is what we're calling our MXRC, so mixed reality radio control as our platform. And it's kind of a foundational layer that allows us to control basically anything in mixed or virtual reality in kind of a playful toy scale environment with multiplayer and objectives and a monetization system all built in. And we're getting really close to getting our first IP out, which is Mixed Wings and Other Things. That's kind of what's been top secret. And there's little bits and pieces out here
Mixed
and there you can
wings and other
find.
things. I
Yeah,
like
Mixed
that.
Wings and Other Things. It's kind of a toy box, a place for everybody to play a little bit of everything. If you like birds, you can play with a bird. If I like cars, I can play with cars. It's
Very cool.
it's uh it's appealing for all and taking a lot of the lessons learned at places like Illumination, where you want to make something accessible and appealing and captivate people's imagination. Like I'm trying to bring that forward into the spatial medium. So,
Awesome, man. I can't wait to show some of that. That's gonna
oh, I
be
can't wait to show too.
yeah. I know. I'll bet that's gonna be fun. And listen, and let me see. Have you seen Project Hail Mary?
Dude, come on.
Okay.
Come on.
So
Read
this
the book
interview,
and
amaze,
watched
amaze,
it, of
amaze.
course.
Fist
Yes.
my bump.
Yeah. Dick.
Love that show. Listen,
Yeah, man.
everybody, this is John Sommer. I loved having you on. He's a dear friend of mine. Only people we're going to have on the show are people that are bringing positivity to the world. There's enough negative garbage out there, so we'll keep it positive and
Yeah,
we'll
man.
bring him back on and we'll show what you're up to. And I can't wait to see it.
Looking
So
forward to it, man.
I want to say thank you for coming.
Thanks, man. Dude, keep this going. We need more of this stuff out there. Kudos to you for kicking it off and making it happen. And I think it's going to be awesome. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you.